Well, welcome to Online People Talking, or OPT as we like to call it. This series is dedicated to you, the online sales specialist. And this program is really geared to enhancing the lives of you working in the new home industry, real life stories, challenges, success, all geared to helping you. We recently wrapped up our builder shop, and so I wanted to share with you and Erin, our special guest, which I'll get to in a minute, a few of the results, and I'd like to discuss some of those things with an online sales specialist. Some pre-COVID versus now stats, and specifically how it has affected our online sales specialists out there. But first, I'd like to introduce our special guest. Erin Fitts, welcome. So Erin is an online sales specialist for a build on your lot builder in North Carolina, Red Door Homes. We love Red Door Homes. She has a background in real estate. She has worked on site as a sales exec for a builder. She has worked in general brokerage as a real estate agent, so she has lots of experience on both sides of the world. And I met Erin about, I guess it's been almost 3 years ago, Erin. I have had the pleasure of being her coach, and we're going to talk about how absolutely wonderful she is here in a few minutes. She is one of the best. So we are going to get into that. So welcome, Erin, to Opt In.
Thanks, Jen. And you're the best too, of course. I wouldn't be here without you. But yeah, and I love the name Opt In, by the way. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
Thank you.
That's what we have to do to our role, right? Is opt in and have others opt in.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you for acknowledging what I was trying to do there, Erin.
I got it. And it was just so happened that it was a really clever acronym. So I'm excited to talk with you.
Well, hey, let me tell you something. And I know I've told you this before, but, when I first met Erin, so those of you that don't know, at Do You Convert, we have a pretty rigorous training program, and I first met Erin and she was going through our training program. She was one of the best at her putting together her notes, and her email subject lines were always clever and catchy. And I was like, man, this girl is going to be amazing because she has a little bit of that marketing side. And so I'm glad you got the opt-in. I'm not surprised that you got the opt-in because you are clever that way. So, Erin, before we kind of get into the topic for this episode today, tell us a little bit about, Red Door Homes, where you work, and, kind of a little bit about the markets that you serve.
Yeah, so Red Door Homes are really unique. We're, like Jen said, an on-your-lot builder or scattered site builder. So we don't have any land or pre-planned communities, which gives our homeowners the freedom to choose where they build. So that's pretty neat. That's kind of what our definition of a dream home is for our customers allowed to choose the perfect home site and the perfect home, and we'll bring that to life. So we serve North Carolina and now South Carolina as well.
That's right.
We have 4 different offices, kind of hubs where we build in a 50-mile radius. So lots going on. But our goal is to build quality, affordable homes. So we work with everyone from first-time buyers to retirement buyers. So a wide range in who we're building for. But
I love how you say that again. What do you guys call your on-site salespeople?
Dream home consultants. And technically I'm a dream home specialist. So OSE/DHS.
Okay.
So
Dream home consultant, dream home specialist. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is, I will say, I can attest to that. I feel like Red Door's, main focus is making that, dream come true of home ownership. Working with, exhausting every opportunity, right? Exhausting every prospect that comes in because by golly, there might be a chance that they could right? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Am I right there?
I mean,
Yeah.
100%. So many people don't even know that building a new home or a custom home can be an affordable option for them. And so we do strive to make that attainable. It can seem overwhelming, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
questions, a lot of unknowns. So that's,
Well,
where we come
especially
in.
with build on your lot. It's like you do a
Right.
lot of educating.
Yes. So we got to break it down into like simple steps and just make sure that the customer knows that this is an option. And yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, we get a lot of interest, especially when the existing home market is as it is right now, low inventory and high pricing. So we also build in a lot of rural areas. A lot of our homeowners already have their own land and are maybe considering um, options to put on there. So it's fun. I like what
Yeah.
we do.
And you've been in the role for 3 years now.
Yeah.
You have a team, and I want to talk about this for a minute. So I think it was even like episode 2, we had Rachel Starrett, which is part of your team. She's actually moved into a management position now. Those of you might know Rachel or remember Rachel. So you've grown your team. You guys
Yeah.
have grown your team. So talk about how many people you have on your team now.
We have grown. So I was fortunate enough to join Rachel. It was an existing program. So I was the second OSC. And now we have 3 OSCs. Rachel, as you mentioned, has moved up. She's now the sales and marketing manager, which was really necessary. As anyone who's in this role, there's a lot of responsibilities to manage, and bridging the gap between online and on-site really actually presented an opportunity for her to do that full time with the training
Right.
and coaching and just understanding how to get our customer from like the initial interest to purchase agreement. So she's great at that. And now I've kind of stepped into the position of the lead for our team.
Yes.
So I have Diana, she had previous OSC experience. Rachel had brought her on or kind of recruited her onto our team. And then Nicole, she was on site for Red Door Homes in one of our locations. And she wanted a little bit more flexibility in terms of her hours that she could work.
Okay.
And where she works, she wants to work from home.
Right.
So
she moved from on-site to online. What I think is really, really great, and I'm not going to take too long to talk about this, but I think it's really important for the online sales specialists listening out there. We just wrapped our online sales academy that we do in the early spring. We just wrapped that class and they graduated, and we had a commencement type of ceremony. And when you say the word commencement, you talk about really it's the beginning of something. It's not the ending of something, it's the beginning of something. And so, as I get emotional, sentimental, we're sending these new online sales specialists out into the world. One of the things that I was thinking about, and this is so true for this team at Red Door, is this is not just a job. So when you start in the role of online sales, it can really grow and morph, and there's opportunity beyond your the stagnant position. I don't want you to think of this as I'm stuck in this role. Think outside of the box and think beyond. When I first met Rachel, she was a solo online sales specialist at Red Door. There was a need for an Erin, right? So then Erin joined the team. Then that team kept growing, more leads, more opportunities, okay, now we need a third. Now we need somebody to lead this team because now we're growing. And then, Rachel moved up, Erin moved up. And so it's just, if you stayed kind of in your little silo, you wouldn't see the opportunities out there and you wouldn't be able to kind of blossom and move forward. So kudos to you guys. It's been a pleasure kind of watching that evolve. And and me personally, I mean, I grew my position, and then now I'm able to be a coach and help other people. So there's things beyond just staying in this role as a solo online sales specialist. So, okay, real quick, let's do some numbers because I think it's really good to give people some perspective as far as what is this Build on Your Lot team doing, and how many appointments are you guys setting, for the year or whatever so far?
So the three of us, we're kind of averaging appointments a year.
Yeah, whatever you want to give us.
Okay. Well, our average this month in appointments is actually around 100, but it's going upwards, which we're going to talk about. So we're getting closer to probably 150, 200. But
a month.
A month.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is the math? I guess between 1,200 and 2,000 appointments a year.
Okay.
Yeah, we each individually manage about 200 leads a month.
And
so that's pretty average.
And that's, you start creeping above that and you really feel it. Right?
Yes.
Which
absolutely.
we'll talk about, we get into kind of what happened during COVID, or what's still happening really, because we're not out of COVID yet, but kind of what happened on that shift. And so 200 leads each you're managing roughly. How many sales, and then what's your overall contribution to your organization? Because I think that number is so amazing.
Yeah, so year to date, we have 75 OSC sales or contributions to purchase agreements. So that's 70% of all sales. So we've had 106 as a company.
That's amazing.
Purchase agreements. Yeah, so 70%. There was one office last month that was 100% OSC contribution. All of their purchase agreements came from our team, appointments scheduled by our team. And of course, not having walk-ins had a lot to contribute to that. But
the Corona conversions, we were, kind of joking about it. But, Build on Your Lot in general, the majority, has a large contribution, right? Because it's different than having like a production builder model home where people are like coming in the door. But yeah, we definitely saw the walk-in traffic go over to online sales and everything was funneling through. So let's definitely talk about that. We took a break from doing opt-in. When COVID hit, it was like, oh my gosh, everything, we didn't really know what to expect. Personally, the Do You Convert team, we had to shift gears and we were like all hands on deck. Let's get as much useful information out there to everybody that we can. We were doing webinars and all these different things. So I put opt-in on hold mainly because I was like, you know what? Online sales specialists are underwater right now. They are not going to spend, 30 minutes to an hour talking with me. They're just trying to stay afloat. Would you not agree?
Yes, I think we were underwater and we were both we were kind of trying to grow fins or learn how to hold our breath longer or like you said, stay afloat. So definitely some growing pains, but it was busy. It was very, very busy, which is a blessing, right? In a lot of ways.
Yeah. But, one thing that I wanted to, talk with you about is, we recently wrapped up our builder shop, survey that, every year we survey 100 builders, or we shop 100 builders, and, we see what the results are. And we did a pre-COVID and then we did a during COVID shop. And, pre-COVID results were pretty much in line with what we have seen historically. I think the biggest thing that shocked me was 75% no text messaging. Did you happen to see that webinar we did, Erin? Did you see those results yet? Okay.
Yep, and downloaded the report and still shaking my head.
So were you not surprised or were you surprised?
I'm not surprised because ultimately, the people who are doing things before COVID.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think it's more so about who you are as a person and how you respond to things. So if you're gonna respond, that's internal, not external. So I wasn't necessarily surprised that. I mean, I guess post COVID kind of surprised me because you think builders that kind of triggers them, like you know, they get hungry
Right.
for or scarcity. You know, the scarcity rule. They're
Right.
kind of fearful that that will run out. So, I mean,
Well, that's kind of what we all kind of thought that, oh, okay, our hypothesis was things will get better during COVID because everybody's freaking out like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have any sales and, I've got to get every little prospect I can. But I will tell you, about 3 weeks in to the pandemic, I totally changed my prediction because in talking with online sales specialists, we hadn't really thought about, you take a busy online sales specialist and now you have all the traffic coming to them. All the,
right.
everything is shifting. And then I was like, oh man, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard to have a quick response time. And this is going to be hard to have, every step of the follow-up process done. And, so definitely, I mean, things got a little bit better during COVID. When we looked at the shop
Yeah.
results, things got a little bit better. But definitely it was like a wake up call. Like, okay, like there's some things broken. There's some things that, we need to staff up. We need to handle these leads better. And
Right.
we need more manpower. I feel like bandwidth and processes and things like that. So give us a COVID update, like in North Carolina, like what's happening with you guys and, kind of what's been going on there.
Well, we've been fortunate enough to maintain an essential business, so we've been able to continue our operations as a builder. Initially, we were by appointment only, then we went to virtual appointment only. Now we're back to appointment only.
Yeah.
We have, adhered to precautions and made sure that we're ensuring the safety and health of everyone. But we're still doing business.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'd say with North Carolina as a whole, the state is right now, different counties are like discussing whether or not to require masks. So we have had a little bit of a spike. So we'll see. We'll see. It's still unknown.
Right.
I think we're not
Would
out
you
of.
would you say that like you had a lot of pushback? Did you have any pushback from people like when you would ask for an appointment that were like, oh, we don't want to come because of COVID? Or did you pretty much see that it wasn't that big of a deal?
When we were scheduling
Yeah.
appointments, no, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
That kind of shocked me.
Yeah.
I think the biggest objection we faced, we did experience new objections to the request to schedule an appointment. That would be the uncertainty. Well, we're just going to wait and see, once
Right.
all this settles down. Not necessarily those that were ready, willing, and able. They still wanted to come in. They didn't let
Right.
they didn't let it stop them. So,
Wow. I was, Mike had shared an article with us the other day, and I'll pull the resource and we can put it in the show notes, but because I don't have it in front of me right now, but it was like 5,000 home buyers, 5,000 recent home buyers were surveyed as to like, why did you decide to move, or, why did you decide to buy? And 70% said it was because of COVID that they bought a home, that they decided to move. 30% said they had already decided, like they were already planning to move. But 70% said because of COVID, because of low interest rates, because of being in their home and realizing, you know what, I don't like my house. I want a new house. I want to move. Maybe they had to work from home and they were like, we need a home office, we need 2 home offices, whatever. But yeah, they moved because of COVID. I thought that was really interesting.
it is interesting, and I think we did see an increase in interest. And to me, that really reaffirms what Jeff Shore always says, right? Like people are coming to you to solve a problem, and kind of
Yes.
in line with us building dreams. people have uncertainty, they have fear, they have dissatisfaction, and a dream is something you can control. A dream is something that brings you pleasure. And so I think they kind of like were putting their mind into a dream of owning a new home, or, like Jeff says, improving their life, having something different than what they had. So yes, that statistic that
Nice.
Mike showed you makes total sense.
Jeff, Jeff got a shout out. Shout out to Jeff Shore.
Jeff
He's
Shore.
awesome. What would
Yeah.
you say what would you say was the biggest challenge for you and your team during COVID? What was the
Oh my
biggest?
goodness. The lack of resistance. So we're always like, usually we're trying to persist and beat that resistance. And now we have an increase in responsiveness. People were answering our phone calls, These people were faster than I am, and our email replies, right? Because they only have me to talk to, I guess, and I have
Yeah.
100 people. So that was really challenging for Diana and I. We didn't have Nicole on board at that time. There was just two of us. And, we really had to, it was kind of engagement overload in a way. Just people, you want to serve, but you're being asked a lot.
Yeah. And
So
your
that was
leads
really
like doubled,
challenging.
right? Your calls like
Yes.
doubled, your
Yeah.
leads doubled. And this
Yeah.
was like really before you had that third team member on. So it was just two of you,
Yeah.
and oh, crazy, right?
Like you said, we were feeling underwater, but we had, we did
Yeah.
work together to kind of grow our fins, or like learn how to swim.
Yeah.
And so I think it's also in that time there is a lot of industry news. There are a lot of opinions out there.
Yes.
And it's difficult to separate your personal emotions and opinions, and still remember like that the goal is the same. You know what I mean? So
Very well
how we
put.
were working was different. Who we were talking to was different, but the goal is still the same. So we just had to adjust and adapt, which I think if you're an OSC, that's a core trait I would to be successful.
Yeah. You gotta be able to adapt. That's true. That's very true. Very well said. Very well put. So speaking of responsiveness, you were actually shopped by your builder. Kind of
By my builder?
Yeah, by your builder.
Oh,
kind of
okay.
yeah, just as a random thing. Kind of as at the beginning of COVID, really. Right? It was like kind of at the
March 18th,
yeah, it was like
I
at the
think.
start of COVID before
Yeah.
anybody really knew what was going on. But let's talk about this. I think this is so, and I want you to give your best practices. But let me give you guys a little bit of information here. Erin scored 104% on her secret shop. How in the world did she score 104%? She got bonus points. First of all, she did everything right. Even the things that we all always miss and screw up. Like, the when you're talking on the phone, you immediately get, and who am I speaking with? And then you use their name throughout the whole conversation. She did that. Her response time was 2 minutes. 2 minutes at like 8 something in the morning. That was phone response. Email response was like 4 minutes. Not only did she send a video email, she did a personalized video email. I think you said you were sick during that time too.
Yes.
She did every single step of the 9-step process as far as, follow up in 30 days. I mean, she did everything right. She hit every qualifying question, every area of qualification she hit. All the while, yes, I'm bragging on her, all the while building rapport, and you could feel her smiling through the phone. It just was a really great job, really great job. So how did you do it? What is the secret sauce? What is the secret to your success?
Well, and although it's a perfect score, I do want to just be authentic and say I'm not perfect. So, I think I was fortunate enough for them to, there have been days where that wouldn't be the case, but the odds are, because I'm consistent in what I do, the odds are that that's going to be the case, regardless of whether it's a secret shopper or, a customer. There's no difference. So it goes back to something you taught me, Jen, and I really struggle with initially, which is this role is very objective when it comes to how you succeed. The even clear evaluations, that's an objective scorecard. You either do or you don't. And so that to me makes it pretty easy, like it's a pass fail. I know what I have to do. I know what's expected of me. So it's objective, first of all. Check. And then above and beyond that, the 4%, so with objectivity, having a process to make sure you're doing your job, doing your role, and asking the qualifying questions. The 4% personalization, for me, I wasn't feeling well, but for me, and this may come from being on site, you have one chance. The first phone call, the speed, that's something with Do You Convert, and I think it was like 400% more likely to purchase.
392% if you respond within 5 minutes, right?
That's the easiest thing we can do is be fast when possible, so having my phone on me at all times, but and then just the effort. So the personalization, making sure that I am differentiating myself, making sure that I'm using the customer's name, and using the tools that we have. Our company supports us by providing BombBomb.
Yeah.
That's an awesome way to make an impression. And just using the tools that we have available. So.
Well, I love what you said is that just stick to the process. Like you said, that these are the things that you have to do. And sometimes we cut corners or we just, lose sight of all that. But it's like when in doubt, just stick to the process. Now, it's not like you were a master. You've always been great on the phone, but I can say this because I've worked with you now for almost 3 years. It wasn't always like you weren't always this great. You know what I mean?
No.
I just want people to understand when you're starting into this role, this is something that takes time and it takes practice and it takes consistency, like you're saying, and what are your tips and tricks for how to master the art of a great phone call? Like, what can you share?
Well, be prepared. So that secret shopper gave us an objection. I have to check with my husband. I was expecting that. And I'm prepared with a response to that. So be prepared initially. And then monitor your performance consistently. Like Jen said, I haven't always, and I'm still improving. I listen to my calls on a regular basis, daily, sometimes. As soon as I hang up, I think of what I could have done different. So just being mindful. But the monitoring consistency, I call other builders. If you recognize my voice, don't hate me.
I love that.
I do, because I want to know what the customer is experiencing elsewhere, and I want to be able to set myself apart. And I pick up things. I pick up tips and tricks from them, and it's about skill and style. So I'm always kind of refining my skills and establishing my style. But I think monitoring your performance consistently is important to the phone. And then on the phone particularly, build excitement. Like you said, the rapport is important.
Yeah.
And offer an appointment.
Right.
I could have easily...
Go for it.
Right. It's so easy to let them off the call to have a great conversation. And I struggle with that at the beginning. Yeah. I just was like, oh, that was great. I feel warm and fuzzy. They feel warm and fuzzy. And then that's it. Oh, no. How am I going to follow up with them? So just... make sure you're capturing the lead and providing a good experience. That's, I guess.
I love it.
What I would say.
Yes, I love it. Here's the thing, guys, and the reason that we're spending time talking about the phone, and we're actually next month for July opt-in, we're going to be talking about it again, because you can do the process, you can be quick, but once you get that person engaged and you get that live connection on the phone, this is your best shot. This is your best shot at getting an appointment. And so really taking the time to learn some great scripts, learn, your go-to, like Erin is saying, your go-to response. If somebody says, gives you some like hard questions about this and you're like, oh gosh, I have no idea. How am I going to pivot this around? How am I going to turn this around? Having in your back pocket a go-to response. So great advice, Erin. And I love this shop other people. Yes, shop other people and see what they're saying.
Right. And my teammates, we have call reels, so we all listen to each other's calls and pick up, like, oh, I really like how you responded to that. And we'll chat it out. So yeah,
well,
that's how I improve.
Well, during COVID, you were spot on. You did a great job. But I will say, even your very first shop, which was a couple years ago, you scored like a 94%. So
right. So 10% improvement.
10% improvement. But yeah, you're right. It is very objective. Okay, rapid fire questions. You ready?
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about being an online sales specialist?
Converting. Yes,
Oh.
I love the challenge. I mean, I just love converting. And also you talked about this earlier, that it really is a career. It really is something that I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I love thinking outside the box, solving problems, and there's never a dull day. So you really kind of, if you get out what you put in.
Yes.
So I love that. It's like running your own business, which you and Mike always say that, right?
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
a business. Know your business. So
yeah,
I get to run my own little business as part of the team.
Mike likes the Jay-Z quote. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like
okay.
that too.
What is your biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge. Well, this is what keeps me going as well. It's adding value. So and you guys talk about this too, and this goes with the conversion, not just being an appointment setter, but an appointment getter, and adding value to the company, to our team, my teammates, to the on-site staff, and to the customer. It's so easy to not do that, but that's what I do to keep myself challenged in this role.
Yes, I love that. What do you do to stay fresh and passionate about your job?
Lots. I mean, I watch.
We've had lots of conversations about this.
So really, it's great because I'm passionate about what I do. But I'll watch House Hunters. I'll connect with our on-site staff to hear real stories, just to connect myself with what we're doing, which is we are helping people find their dream home. So, and then also just kind of continued education, watching every webinar possible, reading.
I was going to say, you do pop up on all the webinars, which is so important. Online sales specialist, you have to put yourself out there. Even if it's a webinar on marketing, go check it out, because that affects you. Marketing affects you, and you need to kind of understand that part of the business. On-site sales, go attend a Jeff Shore webinar. I mean, there's definitely things that you need to do. So I love that you do that, Erin. I always see you on everything. That's awesome. How do you prevent burnout?
Humility, because I know I'm not perfect, and I sometimes need to let myself just realize that, I am human, and this role can definitely take its toll, and recognizing, take, like you guys say, take some time for yourself, but also gratitude. I'm extremely appreciative that I have the opportunity to be in this role, and that mindset, that really helps me. That offsets for me. And vacation when possible. I'm taking a vacation next month.
Yay! Where are you going?
The Bahamas again, with my mom. Yes.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That sounds awesome.
I'm dreaming of the beach, so that's
good for you.
And
going, so you have your backup plan in place because you have a team. So speaking of your team, you are all in different locations. You all work from home. You're not in an office. So what are some things that work for you as your team? Like, how do you stay connected, and some things you would recommend for other teams out there that might be watching?
We schedule regular check-ins. This is something that was really beneficial for me.
Yeah.
When I first joined, that once Rachel and I started doing that, it made a big difference. And so that's something we continue to do as a team, even if it's just to say hi face to face.
Yeah.
And Slack, we have Slack channels where where we stay in touch on a daily basis. And then when you're working with a team, it's important to remember that the golden rule, I guess, for me, do unto others as you would have them do to you, and also make sure that you have established the rules that everyone is going to abide by. Make sure everyone's in agreement in terms of how we're going to handle each other's leads. So
that's really important. Communication and not being afraid to bring up those things and say, hey, we got to get on the same page with this. And even though it might be a little touchy, but it's better to just, it can be tough. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's better to just, talk about it, and immediately when things come up, not let it sit and, just fester. Right. It's if something comes up, immediately address it. Okay, if you could get in your time machine, go back to the future, to your brand new online sales self, what advice would you give?
You did a great job at giving me lots of advice. And so I think focus on what you can control, because your feelings will follow your focus. So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, you know what? You are, Erin, you are an old soul, wise beyond your years. I loved this interview. I loved talking with you. You had a lot of great insight that will help online sales specialists out there. So thank you all for joining Erin and I for Online People Talking. For the latest blogs, webinars, tips, tricks, and you can reach us also. Visit doyouconvert.com. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter for sure. Erin, thank you. You are so awesome, and we will see you next month. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jen.